So specifically, we have some comments on one-time versus ongoing funding, and the committee urges the council to use the one-time funding that's available from the state and federal government in ways that will really enhance the impact of ongoing, particular Measure U investments. We just want to be clear that we oppose the use of any one-time funds to supplant any expenditures that would have otherwise been intended for Measure U. On affordable housing, we support the current proposal for staffing. We think that's really important in our housing activities to support the staff and to have an adequate staff. But we also recommend that the mid-year surplus funding be spent on direct financial investments to support Sacramento residents for maintaining their housing through either mortgage or rental assistance.
And we do have a growing elderly population in Sacramento. We currently spend through the Measure U funds about $2.2 million on older adult services. If there are additional funds available, we would like to expand the service hours for those services. And if there are additional funds available, we'd like to use those to expand programming for youth K to 12, but also youth under the age of 24, and to provide culturally relevant services for Native and Hmong youth.
Thank you again, Dean Galvin, District 8. I'd like to say that this number 18 should not be approved because it is incomplete. It needs to be made relevant and useful so it is understood how the city is spending Measure U funds. It gives summary information, identifies a limited number of what they consider to be priorities. There's no real money amount shown as to Measure U funds thus spent and continuing to be recommended for these variety of things, and it ignores many other priorities that the city departments must address. I won't go over that list. I did send in a document for you all to consider, along with the document that I sent to be considered for the other items that I spoke of earlier in the consent calendar. But in addition, I think one of the items that I didn't speak of earlier, but is touched upon in Measure this recommendation, is item 17 on the shelter crisis. A lot of talk has been made during this meeting regarding homelessness, the unsheltered, low-income housing, and so forth. I want to remind the mayor, I attended a meeting before Measure U was voted on that you attended with developers, homeless advocates, low-income housing advocates, and with a wink and a smile, you said we're supporting Measure U because we can get this passed with a majority of votes. If we had chosen to address specific budget items such as homelessness and funds for homelessness, you knew it would not pass because it would not reach the required passage rate. So again, with a wink and a smile, you got Measure U, you got a lot of money, and you're focusing it on things that you know, had you put up individually as items to be voted on, it would have gone down in defeat. So please use this money and this surplus to help all of the city of Sacramento. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. I know it's not practice for me to respond to public comment. I haven't really done that since my first year as mayor, but I'm going to do it now because I understand the caller may not have full information, and I urge you to look at my blog. We'd be happy to send you all the information. The city has invested $119 million of Measure U and general fund money since the passage of the second half of Measure U in housing, homelessness, youth, and inclusive economic development. $119 million, so you're just plain wrong. It was not a wink and a nod. It was a general tax, yes it was. That was, quote, political because we could pass it with a majority vote. And then I have been, and my colleagues have been steadfastly dedicated to investing it into the community. And yes, sometimes general fund and Measure U overlap. It's green is green. But you look at the record, we're doing exactly what it is we promised and change the investment arc of the city. So I don't want to hear from anybody that the city isn't spending money on homelessness and housing. Give me a break.